Well, everyone has seen the spike in popularity of Korean cuisine over the last several years. Hooni Kim is widely regarded as having spearheaded that movement back in 2010 with the opening of his first restaurant, Danji. In 2012, Danji became the first ever Korean restaurant to receive a Michelin star. He then went on to open Hanjan, which was listed at number 5 on the best new restaurants of 2013 by the New York Times. Hooni is also the owner and chef of his restaurants, while most other Korean restaurants are run by business people. So this means that Hooni's focus is truly on the food. He is busier than ever now, as he is currently a judge in South Korea's MasterChef Korea. So please help me welcome to the stage to tell his own story, Hooni Kim.
What a fun evening, huh? I had a speech ready until 7 drinks ago. Totally gone. So I'm just gonna listen to my wife, who I've always listened to, and she just said, thank people. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start off with my wife, Catherine, who 12 years ago, I told her I wanted to drop out of medical school to cook for a living. And surprisingly, she was very supportive. And since then, I'm so grateful that never a day has gone by not knowing that she was on my side. And for that, I will always be grateful. My son, Sean, he's 7 years old, first grade, way past his bedtime. He's here today, and I would like to thank you too. There's a reason why you're here. I want to thank you for just being who you are, because all adults, every day it's so difficult. But when I think of you, it puts everything into perspective, and it puts a smile on my face. So thank you. My mother is here today too, and unlike my wife, she wasn't as supportive. as expected. As expected, she thought she was going to have a lawyer, Honoree, and a son who was a doctor. And when I told her my decision, her question was, why would you give up such a safe, stable, and a respected a career to cook? Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about my mother. My father passed away when I was 2 years old. My mother raised me by herself since then. I was about Sean's age, my son's age, when my mother and I were living in England, and my mother was working for the Korean embassy, a very safe, stable, and respected job. So one day she said, we're moving to New York. Sure. I get to New York and I realized my mother had a dream. My mother had a passion in fashion. She wanted to be a designer. So this is 1979, 1980. My mother and I moved to New York City. She enrolled in FIT full-time. She worked part-time, and she raised me. And I didn't realize back then how how courageous that decision was, and how difficult it was, and how hectic it was, and how tiring it must have been. And I had no idea, because the whole time I knew that I was her number one priority. So I am accepting this award as a trailblazer, but I do honestly feel like before me came my mother, who was my mother, who taught me, who I learned by her actions, working so hard, following her dream, making her dream come true. And, you know, she became a fashion designer, and for over 20 years now, she has had her own label, or her own company, and to me is defined success for a Korean American. So I dedicate this award to her, but I also want to thank this organization. Wow. I had not heard of this organization before. Julie approached me. And you know, all of us at a young age, we know we're Korean American, and we try to define who we are. I do honestly believe my mother's generation, they put Korean on the map in this country. They worked so hard as deli owners, as you know, people who owned restaurants, people who owned dry cleaners. So much beneath what they were supposed to be doing in Korea. They work so hard for us now, in my generation, to become accepted in this society. We went to the best schools. We work at the best companies. Now, being Korean American, we're proud. There are so many stories between her generation and our generation. And I feel so grateful that an organization like this can record that story, because history is not about textbooks. It's about stories that we have. And this organization is on point, because it's about stories. It's about our stories. Also, I was about to sit down, but so one thing that I noticed, and I don't want to preach, but one thing that I noticed was being Korean American, we are our toughest critics. Yes. Especially when it comes to food. We have here Esther from Mukbar, Eddie from Kurilla. We have Simon from Piora. You're right, we don't cook our parents' food. But I really hope that we can be a little bit more supportive amongst the businesses that we own, amongst everything that we do. Because that's what this evening's all about, right? We're not Korean, we're not American, we're Korean American. So thank you again. Thank you again for a wonderful evening. Thank you.